Hey everyone. Got a chance this weekend to get out and do a little bit of digging with the backhoe. Thought I would video this and give you another perspective of HydrosPlus with the extreme capacity pump. This is an elm tree that's about 20-25 feet tall. It's a pretty tall and slender tree. It's probably 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And it's right where my dad is going to put his shop, so he asked me to take it out. And while I actually had not planned on doing anything with the backhoe, I was actually doing some testing around a hydraulic motor on the front third function. I was all too happy to come over and dig it out for him. Now, this is the first tree I've taken out with this backhoe, or any small backhoe for that matter. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. I've seen lots of different videos online of people digging out stumps. And a lot of times they're stumps of trees that have already been cut down. So when you don't have the opportunity to have the leverage that you get from the tree being, all the way up, some of those holes get really big. And I really wasn't sure how big this hole was going to need to be. I was hoping, I've got a 12-inch bucket here. I was hoping I'd be able to break most of these roots. And I'm not going to get out there with a, with an axe or a shovel. That would just be too smart. I'm going to do what I can with this backhoe, or not do it at all. So right now I'm just scratching around trying to figure out, well, what kind of root structure does an elm tree have, because I don't know. Wasn't sure if it was a taproot or if it was going to have really massive roots that I would have to break with an axe or something, or a chainsaw, because I can't break through them with this 12-inch bucket. But it turned out that it does have 3 or 4 significant roots that are probably 2 or 3 inches in diameter. I was able to dig out far enough and start moving them, wiggling them, and ended up breaking those. So, it took a bit, definitely sending a little bit of fluid over the pressure relief valve here, but nothing that's going to hurt anything, and nothing for any extended period of time. You can see there that that's 3 functions at once, kind of raking that towards me. And doing that also under load, that makes a big difference, because when you're feathering the controls, your fluid is certainly going to go path of least resistance, and that's why you get a lot of stoppage under the stock flow, is because it's going to go path of least resistance, and because it's such a low amount of flow, when you've got 2 valves open at the same time, it can squeeze all of its flow through that, through one or the other, or one of the 3, depending on how many of those you have open at the moment. With HydrosPlus, you've got so much more flow that it will equalize itself, and you can run all 3 of those functions, and you don't have any unexpected stopping of circuits when you're using HydrosPlus, especially with the extreme capacity pump. So to tell you a little bit about the setup, nothing special about this. I don't have loaded rear tires. I would like to, but I take the tires off this tractor quite often for one thing or another, around testing or getting access to something, or designing some of the new things that we're coming out with over the next year or so. And I don't want the extra 100 pounds or so when I'm doing that. Now here, definitely would be nice to have a couple 100 pounds extra on the rear end of it. But that's my setup for now. And the pressure relief valve setting is actually a little above stock. Now, for those of you who saw the Tractor Time with Tim video, we returned this. I usually run a little bit above stock pressure, but I put it at 2,000 psi right on the nose when he came, because that's what the book says, and we wanted to test the limb saw. Well, I actually left it there for a while, and you can do plenty with that, but I find that at the stock pressure, there are some things I want to lift with the front end loader that I just can't get to. I can't get them quite far enough off the ground. So I had about a third of a pallet of sod that I needed to remove from my trailer, and I just couldn't get high enough to get it off the trailer. So I don't know what the pressure is, because I just loosened the jam nut and gave it 1 full turn, which in my experience is about 200 psi, and nobody used that as their mark. If you want to do this for real, definitely get your pressure gauge. I have one, and I need to confirm my settings soon, but I'm pretty confident we're around 2300 psi here. So if you're looking at this saying, well, that seems to pull a little harder than mine, that's probably true if your stock settings. But it's nothing extreme, I would say. It's not 3000 psi or anything like that. It's just a little bit above stock. So I had some poor planning here as I was digging the first time, and what I didn't think about is exactly where I put my camera. And if I was a better videographer, I would probably have multiple cameras or move the camera around to give different angles, but I'm not. So I set the camera on the tripod, and away we went. But when I was digging on this side, closer to the camera, I put all of my dirt right where my tractor is sitting right now, because I thought that might be a good place to put it. It would have probably made sense if I'd thought about it to put it between the tree and the camera, because I probably wouldn't position the tractor there. But that's how much forethought I gave to this, unfortunately. Something else that comes up with this camera position, and you'll see it in a little bit, is if you were digging this tree, probably about right now, I've got just about all the roots broken up. There's going to be some smaller ones in there, but I would start pushing the tree away from the tractor right now, and probably could get it on the ground with the weight of the tractor. But because I have my camera in the way, and there actually is a couple other things that I would have had to watch out for, but mainly it's the camera. I end up having to try to push it to the side so I could miss the camera, and then I could get the weight of the tractor on it. So some of the things I'm doing here that I just never would do with stock flow is just see how I'm scratching for the different roots. You can go back and forth and kind of scratch, and then pick up all of your dirt that you've scratched up. So much easier to do that with the extra flow. Not a lot of side pressure with these backhoes, but I end up getting it pushed over just enough to push it down here in a minute. And there's 3 functions at once. And I don't think I've mentioned it, but right now I'm running at 2800 RPMs. 2800 to 3000 is what I typically run if I'm doing something with a backhoe, unless I'm in a heavy rush, trying to dig as fast as possible, which that doesn't really come up. That 2800, 3000 RPMs, you're going to see somewhere close to probably 7 gallons per minute if you're tuned the way I'm tuned, which is plenty. Once you get above about 6 gallons a minute, it does everything that you want. 5 gallons a minute, you can definitely do 3 functions at once. If you have a situation where you're trying to swing out, do your dipper out, and move your boom, it still does it. It's just a little bit slower. Just about to get all these scratched out here. And like I said, I would have already pushed this down probably. I think this whole video is about 15 minutes, and I end up digging for, I would say, somewhere around 12 or 13 minutes, because I actually fill up the hole at the end. My kids came over and asked me some questions. I edited those out, and I edited maybe one small spot out where I was just playing in the dirt. I wasn't actually doing anything productive, so I didn't think anybody wanted to watch that. You can see it's just, I'm using my new expanded thumb there. Even though it's all the way open, you can use it and get a little bit of a bite. Out here in the trees like this and digging out, in bigger areas, the expanded thumb is definitely nice to have. I've yet to run into anybody who says, "Oh, I got a thumb and I don't think it's worth it." Everybody loves it. I will say that if I'm in my yard doing some work around flower beds and stuff, it can get in the way in certain situations. You can usually work around it, but out here it's definitely nicer to have. Saves you pain on your dipper stick. You can pin rocks and trees and other things and not feel like you're being too rough on your paint job. So as you can see, a little bit of side pressure, just trying to get it far enough that I can miss my camera. And the thumb came in handy here for sure. Those teeth on it, or I was able to get a grip on it that I would not have gotten if I did not have the thumb. There's my dad sneaking into the frame, driving my new to me 2038R. That's our next project from a flow perspective. Hopefully December, January we'll have something out in the market for that one. Alright, I'm finally getting enough leverage. You can tell I don't have my pressure turned way up because I can't really lift the back of the tractor off the ground, but we're probably giving it maybe 1,000 pounds or so of pressure, maybe a little bit more than that. It's hard to say. Yeah, if you are interested in a 2R, the large frame 2R series, this works on the 2025R, the HydrosPlus kit with extreme capacity pump. Already works on 2025R second gen. But the large frame 2R series as well as the 3E series, if you have those and you're interested, definitely go out to the website. There's a coming soon link at the top, and go ahead and sign up for updates on that particular solution. Like I said, should be December, January time frame is what I'm hoping for. The way things are going right now, I would not be surprised if it were April, but I hope that's not the case. This is me, again, kind of playing in the dirt. So definitely fill this in, and Tractor Tom and Tim said that in the video we did together. With the extra speed, you actually might fill it in more with the backhoe, especially in certain situations. I know when I first got this backhoe, I would not do that at all. I felt like it was a waste of my time trying to use the backhoe to fill up a hole, but now with extreme capacity pump and the system, not really a problem at all. Now, that said, for a hole like this that's open, probably not the fastest way to do it. So that's why I eventually turn it around and use the front end loader. There's 3 and 4 functions at once there, albeit briefly. All right, so turning back around, getting on the front end loader here. I've come down from 2,800 to probably about 1,900 is where I put it. I don't know why I picked that RPM, but that's just one I like. But definitely, I don't hardly go over 2,300 unless I have to carry something some distance. You just don't need it. You have plenty of power, a lot quieter, a lot less fuel consumption. So why bother running way up there in the high RPM ranges? There's my dad again. He's just playing too. He's not really, I think he has moved into a pile of dirt that was there, so. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's helpful for those of you who might be on the fence or trying to figure out, is this really the right solution for me? If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can go to the website and use the contact form or email me directly at kevin@hydrosplus.com. Thanks for watching.